So all of us, I mean, you'd have to be pretty arrogant, right, to not acknowledge if you've been marginally successful in life, some of it is probably due to your parents. Genetics, were they around? Did you have a strong upbringing? I was very lucky. I didn't have a perfect childhood, but my dad was a doctor. His brother was a doctor. My mom, before she came over from England, was an honors student. I had pretty bright parents. I think it matters. They were pretty smart. My mom gave me kind of a world view. I grew up listening to some, the BBC, and we had a lot of books around the house. I'm very lucky. I think that's better than average, right? So you got to be pretty arrogant not to at least acknowledge, where did you come from? I always say this. I'm always really impressed. I always ask people, where are you from? Are your parents still around? I'm always kind of blown away when I hear somebody that's had a little bit of a rough upbringing and they've just made themselves into something and their family into something. It matters. And into sports, it also matters where you land in the NFL, your first NFL family. And I've said this. This is why I question Joe Burrow. I think he's going to have a much harder time succeeding in Cincinnati than perhaps, Josh Allen had in Buffalo, where he inherited a great young coach and an excellent young GM. But here's a story that breaks today that Jamal Adams, the best player for the New York Jets, wants out. He's demanding a trade. The Jets are like, we're not going to trade you. He's their best player. Where you land is so important. Now think about Sam Darnold. So Sam Darnold gets there in the 2018 draft. No other player for the Jets in that draft has really hit. He's it. The following year in the draft, one of the worst drafts I've ever seen by any team, one guy appears to be able to play, Quinnen Williams. Star, doubtful. Player, decent. Take Josh Allen. In the year he got drafted, the same as Sam Darnold, 2018, in that draft alone, the Buffalo Bills drafted a linebacker in the first round, Trumaine Edmonds. He's already a Pro Bowler. By the way, last year's draft for Buffalo, they got a starter on the defensive end in the first round. They got a starter at right tackle in the second round, a starter at running back in the third round, and a starter at tight end in the fourth round. Just look at wide receiver. Sam Darnold's best wide receiver. He's gone now, Robbie Anderson. Carolina got him for almost nothing. Josh Allen for Buffalo at wide receiver. They've added Cole Beasley in the slot, Stephon Diggs, a superstar, and a free agent John Brown who gives you 1,000 yards. That's just at wide receiver. That's just at the primary spot you need. Buffalo already has rebuilt their offensive line. The Jets are trying to, fingers crossed. Josh Allen inherits a really, really Sean McDermott good head coach, and McDermott's got a buddy who's the GM. They've shown to be incredibly capable drafting in free agency. The coach and GM for the Jets right now, cross your fingers. The first two are already canned. Where you land matters. It's about 75 to 80% of it. That's why when Sam Darnold at the end of last year, after mono, went 6-2 down the stretch with a bad O-line, 13 TDs, 4 picks, 93.5 passer rating, ran for 2 touchdowns, I said, this is crazy impressive. And this is why I wonder how Joe Burrow flourishes in Cincinnati. We just don't consider this. In life, we acknowledge, oh yeah, good parents, good kid. In the NFL, it's like, well, he's got a lot of talent. Josh Allen is a complete project. The 2 times Josh Allen at Wyoming in college played decent teams, Iowa and Oregon, he was dreadful. He was terrible. Then you put him in the NFL and he's actually more consistent. He's got better mechanics. He's more dependable in the NFL in college. So consider that when I criticize Joe Burrow. It's not really about him as much as it is the people he'll have to pull, the Bengal organization. Jamal Adams, great player. You can make an argument to keep him or move him. The name of the game in this sport is drafting well, finding stars, and then re-signing him. Probably what I'd do. Fox Bet came out with something yesterday. It's called spread value of coaches. How many points is your coach worth? Now, we all know, Bill Belichick's worth some points, right? Nobody would deny that. And, we know Joe Judge with the New York Giants right now probably isn't worth any points. Not yet. So they came out Fox Bet. And the names at the top are not surprising. Bill Belichick is worth a field goal. Sean Payton, Kyle Shanahan, John Harbaugh, Mike Tomlin, Andy Reid, Sean McVay, Doug Peterson, Pete Carroll, Sean McDermott. What? Number 8 is Mike McCarthy? Mike McCarthy is worth mostly the same as Sean McVay? What? He's worth more than Pete Carroll and Doug Peterson? He's almost same as Andy Reid. Well, how's that possible? I'm just going to ask you a couple questions. Did you know that Mike McCarthy's winning percentage plus a Super Bowl is higher than Pete Carroll's, John Harbaugh's, and Andy Reid? 62%. Did you know that? Did you know that Mike McCarthy has more playoff wins than Vince Lombardi, Tony Dungy, Mike Tomlin, Sean Payton, Jimmy Johnson, and Mike Shanahan? Yeah, the guy that looks like a Chicago cop. Did you know that? How is it possible Fox Bet says he's a better coach than Pete Carroll, right up there with Andy Reid? Why? Because we were forced to take a side. In Green Bay, we had to pick a side, right? The media was so, and this is so American media in 2020, political or sports, was so giddy with Aaron Rodgers. At one point, they were calling him the GOAT. I'm not making it up. We were calling him the GOAT. I mean, Marino, Elway, Peyton, Favre, Staubach, Tom Brady, the GOAT. But the media, foaming, made us pick a side. How come Aaron's not winning more? How come he's not winning more Super Bowls? So the media said, Aaron is great and Mike McCarthy's a Milwaukee cop. But here's the funny thing, is that McCarthy left and Aaron Rodgers' numbers went down. His completion percentage down slightly, his passer rating down slightly. 400 yards a game, or 400 yards total for the season went down. That's with Devontae Adams. That was with an improved defense. It's not like the Bears were good last year. It's not like Detroit wasn't a complete grease fire last year. The division was worse than the year before. How's that possible? The Bears weren't as good as the previous year. The Lions were terrible because Matt Stafford was out. Minnesota was about the same, not quite as good, but pretty good. Dalvin Cook got hurt. And the numbers went down. Is it possible that we always gave Aaron way too much credit and Mike McCarthy not enough credit? I mean, it should be noted that Russell Wilson has more fourth-quarter comebacks than Aaron Rodgers, despite almost 50 fewer NFL starts. Well, we'll find the answer out this year. Okay, so right now, if you think Aaron's the reason they won and Mike is just nothing, we're going to find out. And we're going to know probably by December 10th, December 15th. Because Mike McCarthy now takes over the Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott, who none of you think is great. You think he's good. You think he's his franchise guy. You think he's solid. You think he's a good leader. You think he's reliable, but you don't think he's Favre. You don't think he's Brady. You don't think he's Breeze. You don't think... If Mike McCarthy wins in Dallas and Dak Prescott flourishes, can we all then be authentic and honest and acknowledge, due to the fact we were forced to pick sides, we always gave Aaron way too much credit, and we never gave Mike McCarthy enough? I mean, he's not flashy. He doesn't have the square jaw. He's not John Harbaugh. He's not incredible at the mic like Mike Tomlin. He doesn't look as good for his age as Pete Carroll. He doesn't have that Sean McVay cool factor, the Kyle Shanahan cool factor. Maybe he just can coach. Maybe because Aaron is so cool and Mike's not cool at all, that persuaded us to have one as the GOAT and one as a bum. But we will know by December 1st if we were over our skis on that. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.